Welcome, my friends, to another YouTube version of the BJJ Brick podcast. I hope you enjoy the show, and if you do, please subscribe to the channel. So here we go.
Thank you for listening to the BJJ Brick podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back, my friends, to episode 153 of the BJJ Brick podcast. I'm Gary, and I'm here with Byron today. How are you doing, Byron?
Gary, I'm doing great. Had a great time on the mats this morning, and excited to get in here and record with you, my friend.
It's always good to work out a little bit, get some time on the mats before we're recording. I think it gets our minds right. So my mind is going to be off because I did not roll this morning. I went and rode my mountain bike, so my game may be a little slow today.
Maybe it'll be a little better because mine might be off because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, because I did no blood restriction to my head.
There you go. I'm excited, Gary. I'm excited about the interview today.
Me too. We have a lot of people. We've had a lot of cool people on our show. But this time, I think we've got the youngest guest we've ever had who can tap me out in about 20 seconds. So it's always neat to have a young guest who is as talented as Nicky Ryan is.
Yep, 15 years old, Nicky Ryan, brother of Gordon Ryan, and very impressive young athlete, and he's competing in the adult divisions a lot. He's got a super fight coming up October 8th. He's not in the Canadian Kumite, but they're doing a Canadian Kumite, and they have him. He has a big match with Dainis Nguyen, and you could check out that super fight. It's $11.99. The whole thing, the whole Canadian Kumite, and we'll put a link to it in the show notes if you want to get it on pay-per-view.
Yep, so definitely stay tuned. I just think it's kind of crazy. Here I am, 49 years old, and whenever I see a Nicky highlight, I'm always watching it. So here's a 49-year-old looking up to a talented grappler who's 15 and watching this person and trying to learn some stuff. So I just think it's awesome to have Nicky on the show this week.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited really to see the future of what he's going to do in the sport and where he wants to take his own game, I guess.
Yeah, it's just crazy. As talented as he is now, I mean, he's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And I mean, at 15 years old, just running through tournaments and adult tournaments too. That's the even craziest part. But that Danaher Death Squad, those athletes coming out of there are just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we got to mention the rest of the Danaher Death Squad, Garry Tonon, Eddie Cummings, and Gordon Ryan. All welcome on the show anytime if they're hearing this and they want to hop on here and talk to us. We'd be happy to have them at any time. bjjbrick@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, my friends.
Yep, speaking of that email right there, bjjbrick@gmail.com. Make sure you get on our email list. We have a link to it on the show notes. The cool thing about getting on our email list is you will never miss a show. We'll send you a download to the show each and every week, and that way you'll never miss great episodes. We're like episode 153 this week with Nicky Ryan.
Gary, we all aren't able to have John Danaher as our coach from a young age and heel hooking black belts when we're 15, but we do have a audiobook available for the grapplers who are on the new side of things and looking to overcome their own personal hurdles and set their own goals. We have your first year of BJJ audiobook produced by the BJJ Brick podcast. It's $11.99. The proceeds go to help the show and support us in what we're doing. So it's about 2.5 hours, and we'll just kind of walk you through what to expect your first year and try to help you through some of the hurdles you might run into. So check it out if you're interested and if it would be something that might help you out.
Speaking of support for the show, I'd like to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, Rob, Sean, Greggy, and Alexander. I just want to let you know we really appreciate your support, and thank you so much.
Yep, they're definitely helping us continue to expand the show and maintain what we're doing at least. So, Gary, speaking of needing some support and motivation to go on, I'm going to go ahead and play our quote of the week, and it was from our last week's guest, Dainis. So here we go.
Any quote that talks about being persistent, you know what I mean? just hanging in there. Like those are my favorite kinds of quotes. You know, maybe I just thought of one. You know, fall down 7 times, get up 8, right? You know what I mean? That's you know, that's my philosophy on going through life. You know what I mean? Always stay positive, always keep moving forward.
And could you think of a time when you really had to use that mentality? You know, fall down 7, get up 8, and that mentality of just keep going forward, and things will get better.
For sure. Like, anytime something hard happens in life, right? You know, like, let's say, like, you know, you broke your arm in a tournament. Oh, shit, man, I can't train. Maybe I can't go to work and this and that. But just believe that something good will come for it. You know, maybe you'll meet something special. You know what I mean? Maybe, like, you know, something will say, you know, you'll be able to, you'll find something, you know, you'll get a better job offer. But you have to be, like, you have to be open to positive things happening in negative situations, instead of, you know, always taking everything as negative, right? So let's say, like, you get a flat tire, you're like, oh, crap, it's going to ruin my day. No, just be positive. Like, maybe you'll meet somebody, you know, driving down the highway who you'll become best friends with, and you guys will become business partners, right? So you really just have to keep your mind open to positivity. I really believe in the power of positivity. Like, sometimes bad things happen to me, you know what I mean? You get in an argument with a friend, you guys don't talk anymore, but then it happens, you know what I mean? That, you know, something better happens in your life, right? Because somebody was negative and things like that. So that's my main thing. You know, if you remain positive, you know, life becomes very easy.
Awesome. I like that quote, and how you're able to kind of bring that positive energy over and share it with the examples of staying positive when bad things happen.
For sure, man.
I want to thank him for giving us the quote of the week. It's always nice when a guest has a quote they want to share, and we're able to put that on for next week. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Now, to me, Gary, this has always kind of seemed weird with the numbers.
Well, I think you're starting on the ground.
Yeah, you have to first get up. You have to first get going, and that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, we're starting on the ground, so you're already getting up.
Get up once, then you fall down. You get up. That's twice. That's 2 fall. That's
1 fall.
1 fall, and 2 times getting up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But the whole thing is, you know, just keep getting up. We're always going to have setbacks. We're always going to, you know, fall off the bridge. We're always going to have issues that we're running into. Well, hopefully we won't fall off the bridge.
Fall off the bridge.
But we are going to run into obstacles. We're going to. It's never going to be easy. If it was easy, geez, life wouldn't be fun. Everything would just fall into place. But you know, there's going to be setbacks, and what we have to do is not stay down. Get right back up. You know, it's the heart. Keep plowing forward. Keep going towards your goal. Don't give up, and you know, just charge forward. It's we're never quit attitude.
Yep, that's I like the quote. I understand it a little bit better now. And you start not up. You have to get up. Once you're up, that's getting up the first time. So I like that a little bit more this time. Now that I understand it more.
Oh, well, thank you, Byron. I knew I was good for something.
There you go. Good for a lot more than that, Garry. Like you're also good for introducing the article of the week.
Yes, hey, this week our article is The Ultimate Micro Game, and it's by Josh Vogel, and it's kind of it's a cool article. It's not our traditional article because it starts talking about arm wrestling. You know, do you ever watch, they have that World Arm Wrestling League, WAL, on ESPN? You ever watch that, Byron?
I have not. I've seen a movie with arm wrestling, and maybe I've seen
Is that Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, I've seen that.
No, but you know, I guess I'm kind of like with Josh. You know, Josh was watching, you know, fell in love with professional arm wrestling, and you know, started watching it. And that same thing happened to me when I started watching this World Arm Wrestling League, and it's kind of crazy. These guys, you know, they're very strong, which you have to be, but just the technical aspects of arm wrestling. If you know, they have these, you know, they twist their wrist one way, they put their fingers one way, they stretch their arm out, or they pull their arm in, you know, and all these different things kind of break down the structure, you know, to make the person, you know, less strong so they can win. And that's kind of like what Josh is going into, you know, the parallels from jiu-jitsu and arm wrestling. And, you know, what I thought was kind of cool is, you know, he's talking about he's like, you take arm wrestling, and it's, they're just trying to break down little angles and, just to make the other guy weaker and make him stronger. And he's like, can you imagine if I just get mount on somebody and my whole goal is to push his arm into an Americana position and like just work at the ways to make myself stronger and make it easier for it to do. And like he calls it the micro game. He's working just that little aspect of one movement and, putting yourself in an advantageous position.
Yeah, there's a video on there by a guy named Devin Larat. I recommend you watch it. And he's really scientific in the approach of how to arm wrestle. And so maybe you pick up arm wrestling tip or maybe you don't, but realize that people are doing this in jiu-jitsu for everything. So, I mean, look at the heel hook game. So, I try to go for heel hook. I try to control the leg and I try to, get my hands on the together and hook up with the heel and put some tension on it. But really, there's so much more going on. So he's explaining the arm wrestling. He wants his hip usually in contact with the table. I mean, that makes sense. That gives you a lot more power to be able to push with your hip and your core now, and how close your arm is from your body, and you're rotating not just with your arm. Like, there's so much more detail he's able to throw into this. Every movement in jiu-jitsu, you have both your arms, you have your core, you have your legs, your balance, your speed, your timing. Everything is all combined together to get you to. He's breaking down one movement, to make your arm go from here to there as you get the pin in arm wrestling. And that's why drilling's so important, because we can't explain every little tiny detail that we have. But as we drill things, you'll learn them anyway. As you some live sparring, you'll start to figure stuff out. Your body will help you out.
Yeah, and I like how he's, just talking about knowing how the skeletal system works.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, or when you're trying to pass a knee shield in a half or open guard, and he's saying, try to focus on how the skeletal alignment facilitates strength and uses of larger and stronger muscle groups while protecting the smaller and weaker ones from injuries. And, it's just really getting scientific and breaking stuff down. And it just made me think just on arm wrestling, they're just doing it for one appendage. You've got your arm, which consists of your, but even though, like you were saying, your core and everything else goes into it, but just think how many micro games there are in jiu-jitsu. But, the key is, like you said, just drill it, think about it, think about how to put yourself in an advantageous position, make yourself stronger, how to engage all the muscle groups, and, that way you'll have an advantage over your adversary.
Yeah, he has a quote from Devin in there. It says, arm wrestling is a miniature martial art. I'm reminded of when we had Jonathan Thomas on the show. We had him a couple times, but one of the times, if not both, he mentioned, jiu-jitsu is just a whole bunch of small games that we've chained together. You might end up starting with the takedown game, or passing the guard game, or a heel hook game, or mount game. If Gary's top mount game is better than my mount escape game, I'm in a lot of trouble. And then even a smaller game than that, when Gary goes like the S mount. Okay, now we're playing a little game of S mount, which could be, in theory, an entire art in itself. If all we did is start S mount and try escape, and then we switched it and I start an S mount, we'd be amazing at S mount. But we have way more than that. But is the idea that you could hone in on a certain part of your game and make it really strong, develop that, and that's what Look at what John Danaher is running through with those guys. They're leg locking everybody, and there's a great reason why. They're really good at it, and maybe another reason is we haven't caught up to what they're doing. Imagine if the triangle choke was new today. If it was like, what is that? He's wrapped up his arm with his legs and his head is in there. Everyone would be getting triangled by like one or two people, because clearly something's happened that we don't understand yet. And clearly John Danaher is teaching in a way that most people on the mat haven't figured out. And they're also training super hard and putting all the hard work and stuff like that as well. But it's just amazing to see this evolution of the sport keep changing. And I could relate this article well to what they're doing over there. I think it's neat to read this right before we get Nicky Ryan on the show.
Yep, yeah, definitely. It's a very unique article. I really enjoyed it. I didn't understand when I first started reading it where it was going to go, and once I saw the little video and started reading, I was like, oh, this all makes sense. But, like you were saying, Danaher Death Squad is just way ahead of everybody. And speaking of that, I think it's time to move on to, Nicky Ryan of the Danaher Death Squad.
Just a quick note before we roll the interview. This interview took place August 27th. A couple of times we'll talk about maybe the weekend that's coming up or something like that. Just know that it due to our recording schedule, this took place a little while ago. So here we go. He is the most interesting grappler in the world.
His Facebook page has twice as many likes as the BJJ Brick Facebook page, because everyone who likes the BJJ Brick Facebook page also likes his page. But then their moms go and like his page too. He can toe hold a duck. The first time he took his opponent's back, he never returned it. It now sits on his mantle in a jar of formaldehyde.
I don't always listen to podcasts, but when I do, I prefer the BJJ Brick podcast. Go for the submission, my friends.
All right, my friends, I'm happy to bring Nicky Ryan to the BJJ Brick podcast. Nicky, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. What's up?
Nothing. I'm excited to hear from you. You have been grappling for quite a while, considering how young you are, and you're having success in adult divisions. That's just a little bit about who you are. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of what you're up to?
Yeah, I've been training about a year and a half now. Since the first day I started training, I just started coming in every day and was dedicated to it. I was having a little bit of a problem with school because I wanted to train full-time but couldn't because of school. So this year I'm getting homeschooled so that I could go up to the city every day and train with Gordon and Gary and Eddie and them.
What grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore in high school.
There you go. That's and you started about a year and a half ago, you said?
Yeah.
What got you in the mat or on the mat there?
My brother. He just was begging me I started when I was when I was around 8 years old, and I did it for 3 months, 2 times a week, on and off. And I stopped coming in, and then my brother has just wanted me to go back since then, so he's just begging me to go back, and then I finally decided to. So
it sounds like you've made a recent transition to homeschooling. Were you
Yes.
is that this year, or did you do that last year as well, or when did you make that change?
It's just this year. I went to public school last year.
When I went to school, I always thought it would be kind of cool to do homeschooling. What are you looking forward to? What are you kind of worried about with going to school, doing homeschooling?
Well, I'm actually going to be getting homeschooled by John Danaher.
Wow.
Yeah, up in the city. He's going to start teaching me after every practice. So, yeah, he's not in New Jersey. There isn't too many rules on it, too many laws. So he's just going to teach me whatever he feels that is necessary for me to learn.
Well, you got a amazing situation you've got yourself into. It sounds like you're going to be getting really good at jiu-jitsu and also getting very interesting and great education from one of the most great coaches we have around. So it's a very interesting situation. So is there standardized tests that you'll have to take, or how's that work?
No, in New Jersey there's literally no laws on it. There's no standardized testing or anything like that.
All right. Well, I don't want to talk about school the whole time, but I have a few more questions. Back when you last year, what was your favorite topic in school?
Favorite topic was probably I liked math.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Hopefully, so that's good. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys seem to like math. It's kind of intellectual is a lot of the problems we solve in jiu-jitsu as well. So hopefully you'll keep up with your math there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're looking forward to training all the time and doing a lot of that. And what else do you do besides train grappling all the time?
I don't really do anything besides that. We train all day long. You know, we wake up at 5 in the morning, drive to the city, do a 7:30 class, then we hang around and get food and stuff, and then at 11 we train again, and then at 12:30 we train again in the city, and then we come back and, you know, we're either driving to another school to go train, or Gordon's teaching up at Gary's school, or, you know, we train like all day long, every single day.
You have a lot of focus on your grappling there. I've had the pleasure of watching some of your videos online. Could you describe your style of grappling to somebody if they haven't seen you on the mats yet?
Yeah, I like to more of like a person that plays on bottom. I just started recently, like coming on top and starting to pass and stuff. I don't think I've come on top in any of my tournaments yet, but I'm competing tomorrow. I'm probably gonna wind up on top in that competition. But yeah, I'm not one of the people that likes to, you know, just get like points and like just stall them out and stuff like that. I always, you know, like to go for the submission and like to push the pace.
So I think it's pretty common for somebody to start out and end up playing a lot of the bottom game. It's just because you don't have to. You could just instantly go to your guard and work from that. But now you're starting to work on your top game. What do you like most about playing top game? I
like passing and, you know, like, and you can enter into the legs a lot from top also.
Yeah, you do a lot of leg attacks, so that's it's fun to watch, and there's no doubt where you're training that's top notch training you're getting there from that.
Yes.
So, I remember when I started grappling, I was strictly a guard guy, and I really it took me a while to. I think I was purple belt before I started to play top game. What are you doing to get to top? Are you doing a quick sweep? Or are you working on takedowns, or how's that going for you?
I started wrestling a little bit now, but most of it has been sweeps probably. But I just started recently, actually starting from the feet and trying to wrestle and take them down instead of pulling.
Yeah, and that's I guess those are both great ways to get to the top, and it's good to have both of those as options. Yeah. And it's not when you're able to footlock everybody. If you happen to be trying to wrestle and they get 2 points on the takedown, you're still probably going to be all right.
You know, wrestling is definitely essential. I think, you know, there's many ways to enter into the legs just from, you know, wrestling. You know, if it's shooting a double and pulling ashigarami or whatever, it's definitely essential.
So, what are your goals for this new year? Maybe until the new year that you have set, since you've changed your schedule around, you're going to be able to get a lot more mat time and maybe compete more. Do you have any big goals coming up?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a super fight on EBI. I was talking to Eddie, and he was thinking about putting me against one of his prodigy students. So I'm looking forward to that. He said probably around late 2016 or early 2017.
Have you competed much in the kids divisions, or are you typically competing against adults?
Adults, like almost every tournament.
And so, if in EBI, would it be against a kid, or would it be against an adult?
I'm pretty sure that it would be against a kid. I don't know. It depends. Probably depends on what I win. If Eddie, if I win things like black belt divisions or things like that, he's probably going to want to put me against an adult instead of a teen. Like tomorrow, I'm doing Gracie Worlds. I'm doing the brown and black belt division.
Wow, that's I'm just so impressed by this and the rate that you're able to pick this up. What are you doing differently that most people aren't doing when they train? Is it just mat time, or are you doing something differently?
I think the main difference is coaches. John has like a certain system that that makes us progress faster than everybody else does. You see Gordon and Garry, they've been training for like a quarter the amount of the time that all their opponents have. Their opponents have way more experience, and they're still able to come on top.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch over the past, I don't know, a year or two that they've really exploded onto the scene.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're competing with somebody, and maybe they're not quite in like a leg entanglement that you want to be in or whatever, and then you get there. Do you get like a sense of like relief, or are you more comfortable in those spots because you've been training with that system for so long, or is it just your goal to get them in that system and work from there?
I feel comfortable throughout like the whole match most of the time, unless I start getting like put in like really bad situations, like submissions or things like that. I'm normally pretty calm throughout my matches.
A lot of people always ask about trying to stay calm in the match or be calm before the match. What do you do before a match to kind of get yourself ready mentally but not get too excited?
I normally just do John has us do certain drills, and I normally don't do like a generic warm up like most people do. Like normally before my match I'm nervous and things like that, and I feel like a generic warm up just gets me like more tired, and so I'd rather just do the drills that John wants us to be doing.
Do you train only in no gi, or do you ever put a gi on?
I train pretty much only no gi.
Would you do you think you'll ever go back to the gi, or just stick with no gi?
Yeah, I'll probably wind up going back to the gi in the future once I accomplish enough things in no gi.
You have a lot going on your plate already. I'm just so impressed by your willingness to just take things on and your work ethic. Tell me a little bit about your teammates and what they are to you in your training regimen.
Gordon, Garry, Oliver Taza, Eddie Cummings, all of them, they're pushing me every day, and after every session they're giving me new tips and things like that. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be anywhere near the level that I am today.
Sometimes people think that doing leg locks is dangerous. Are leg locks, in your opinion, more dangerous than other submissions?
No, I think it's just as dangerous as any other submission. It just depends on who's doing it. If you have somebody that likes to rip things, it doesn't matter if they're ripping a heel hook or an arm bar. You're still going to get injured. You just have to be smart with them. Me, Gordon, Garry, we never get injured with heel hooks in training. Yeah, that's a big part of it, I think. Your ability to train in a safe way. So what, are you guys just being cautious around that area, or are you familiar with the limits and how far your legs can go? Or tell me a little bit more about being safe while you train leg locks. We know our limits now, probably, just from, just having it done repeatedly to us. We know, how far our, ankles and knees can go before they're going to get injured. So, that's definitely a big part. You don't want to take, a brand new white belt and do heel hooks with him, and because, he doesn't know. It's a different type of pressure than other submissions. It's not getting, hyperextended. It's more like a pressure.
Yeah, so when did you start to learn to attack the legs?
I started probably around a month into my training. I started using them.
You also mentioned that you're starting to play a top game in passing and attacking the legs. To me, that's always been a difficult thing to do if I'm playing on the bottom. If a guy 1 minute is trying to pass my guard, I'm defending that okay, and the next minute he's trying to attack my legs. I have to switch mentally to defend my legs from pass. I was thinking about you passing. Now I'm about to worry about my feet. So is that kind of something that you're playing with, trying to switch up your attacks with passing and leg attacks?
Yes, for sure. Make sure that when I do my passing, that there's always if it fails, there's always another leg entry or another type of pass off of it that I can do.
Cool. What kind of guard passes do you like so far?
I like, passing to the outside, going back and forth to each side to make them tire out.
Sounds good to me. Now, we can't all train as much as you do and all that stuff. For one reason, sometimes guys like me get a little beat up, and some people of us have to work, and we have families, stuff like that. Do you have any advice for just the average person who could train just a couple times a week, and how that they could try to get better at jiu-jitsu? Just
to make it in as much as possible, and that's pretty much it. Just make it in as much as possible, and even though, like, when you're sore and stuff, try and get in every day, and at least drill, or, you don't have to go crazy when you're training, just, drilling and going light and flow rolling, things like that.
What part of your game do you look forward to developing in the next few months?
Probably my wrestling. I would like to get that a lot better.
So are you like actually doing wrestling, like with wrestlers where you just do takedowns and try to pin, or are you doing more of a submission wrestling type of a training?
I do. Cause I don't like to do wrestling like with wrestlers because it's completely different than in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like in jiu-jitsu, like you can just you're trying to take someone down, you can just get put in a submission. In wrestling, you don't really have to worry about that as much. So I'd like to do wrestling with jiu-jitsu guys. There's I wouldn't say that we do wrestling. I'd say we do submission wrestling.
Okay.
It's a little bit, yeah.
So you're worried about guillotines and that sort of thing as well?
Yeah. Whereas in wrestling, you're not. There's like sweeps and stuff that people can hit off of takedowns, and jiu-jitsu that you can't in wrestling because you can't put your shoulders on the mats. So it's definitely a lot different.
Can you think of a time when you decided that you wanted to take this a lot more seriously?
Probably after my first competition. My first competition I did in the adult division, and I won that, and so I knew my brother convinced me that I could definitely be one of the top level guys when I get older.
And is that kind of when you started training more often and started hitting it more like that?
I mean, well, when I first started training jiu-jitsu, I used to be like really fat, so like I was kind of in every day already to try and lose weight. So like my schedule hasn't changed that much, Just besides summers. Summers I train much more, or I used to train much more because I could go up to the city every day.
So how much weight have you lost, or have you gotten taller and weigh about the same, or how's that going?
Yeah, I lost around 40 pounds now. And I also got much taller.
I would guess you're significantly stronger as well than you were
yes,
a
for
couple
sure.
years ago. So that's awesome. What would you say to another kid who's interested in trying jiu-jitsu or submission wrestling to get them to come in and check it out?
I mean, pretty much just talk about how like they would be able to defend themselves against grown men if they ever have the need to fight or defend somebody, that they could actually do it even though they're much smaller and much younger.
Did you have any of the students at your old school, not the gym, but the school? Did any of those guys train?
No, I don't know anybody from my school that trains jiu-jitsu.
They are missing out.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, it's good advice. You could come in and train this even a few times a week. Don't have to be quite as serious as you are, and before too long they'll have the tools at their disposal to take care of themselves if they end up in a bad situation.
Yeah, for sure.
How often do you work on things that aren't leg attacks? Like, how often do you drill arm bars or chokes or things like that?
We do it every day. A lot of people say that, like our team is like one trick ponies and we only do leg locks. It's not true at all. Like I'd say now I probably work more on upper body submissions and strangles and things like that more than I do leg locks.
Yeah. And it's just that part of your game is highlighted more, but it's obvious if your team didn't do arm locks or triangles or whatever, you guys would be getting caught in those because you're not training them. But it's clear that you guys are all training those and fully aware of their presence, and you could also pull them off. So yeah, I think people who say that you guys just do one thing are probably not looking very deep into what's happening on the mats.
Yeah.
So was it a very difficult decision to go to be homeschooled, or was that something that you've been looking forward to for a while?
That was something that I've been looking forward to for a while. I wanted to do it last year, but my parents weren't really on board yet. Throughout the whole year, I was just begging them, asking them if I could please do it, and they finally cracked and let me do it.
And how does John Danaher feel about this?
He's definitely, he definitely wanted me to be homeschooled so that I could train full time, so that I could progress much faster. Are
there any other kids at the gym that are looking to be homeschooled with you, or are you going to be the only one?
I'm probably going to be the only one. There's not too many teenagers that we train with.
So how is that why it's not intimidating to compete against adults, because you're always training with adults?
Yeah. Every day I train with adults. I don't know if we even have one teen signed up at Brunswick or at Henzo's.
Wow, that's crazy. That I'm just kind of figure out how different it's going to be for you if you ever get matched up with another teen. That it's not like an adult male trying to take your head off. It's another teen that is similar size and strength, and then it's going to be a different game entirely for you. Probably a lot easier.
I had one super fight against a teen. His coach was went on Facebook saying a bunch of stuff about us. So basically what happened was I was supposed to compete against him in I think it was a UGC or something like that, and I popped my shoulder and had to pull out. I let the event know probably a good 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and I guess they didn't let him know, let the coach know or the kid know. So the event came up, I wasn't there, he was there, and he went on Facebook saying about how I was scared to compete against them and all this. So Gordon went on his Facebook and he went on the status and started saying that put up your money against them. I bet you $500 that Nicky will win. So it wound up becoming my $500 versus his $500, and I wound up winning. It was a 45-minute long match. The kid was, I think he was 16 years old and was probably around 190 pounds. And I wound up winning by outside heel hook.
Wow, that I did not know that story. So were you a little bit more nervous going into that match, knowing that there was some money involved and knowing that they kind of talked bad about you?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous before that fight.
But was it, once you got going, was that gone, or did you think about that during the match?
Well, after the first movement went off, I was good.
It sounds like it was a long match. Was there a time limit at all, or was it just go until the end?
It was just going until the end.
Do you prefer that, or do you like a clock?
I like no time limit matches more. I'd say either that. I prefer that, or 20-minute matches with a ref decision at the end.
So does the strategy change for you when there's no time limit, as far as pushing the pace or trying to conserve some energy?
Yeah, I definitely stay a little bit more relaxed because I don't want to, tire myself out in the first 10 minutes and then wind up giving up and him submitting me. Yeah, that's
smart to do. You mentioned that you hurt your shoulder before that match. Is that
yes.
Tell me about an injury that you've had and how that was getting over that.
Yeah, well, my most recent injury, I partially tore my LCL and hamstring. It's probably the worst injury that I had yet. I was out for around 6 weeks, and I was just dying to train when I got back.
Does that affect the way you train now, or are you completely healed, or what's up with that?
It's not fully healed yet. I still have to watch it and, be careful with it. Make sure there's not, too many things twisting it or, not too big of an impact on it. So, yeah.
Yep, you're smart to protect it and try to make it, try to be as safe as you can with that. You have a match coming up on October 8th, is that right?
Yes.
What's up with that? That's a pretty big super fight you have. Can you tell me a little bit about the match?
Yeah, so, Cat Clark, he messaged me, asked me if I wanted to do a super fight, and he posted about it on Facebook, and, this guy named Danny, who, one of my teammates, Ethan, has competed against him. I think Ethan beat him every time. But he asked me. I was like, "Yep, sure," and now it's set up.
All right, and I have to say it. Danny is not your age, is he? I mean,
no, I think he's. How old is he, Ethan? In his 20s probably.
Okay, and what belt level is he?
He's a purple belt.
Okay, what kind of a game does he play? Do you have any idea?
No, I haven't. Or he likes to. Ethan just told me that he likes to play Deep Path.
Deep Path. So that might come into play if you decide to play top game. He might. But if you play, it's hard to go deep half when you start out in somebody's guard. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing that. Is that right? That's on October 8th.
Yes, it's on October 8th.
Is that
up in? It's up in Canada.
Is that going to be available in some kind of a pay-per-view, or how could we watch that?
Yeah, it's going to be streamed. If you go on my Instagram, I put all the information about it, where it could be streamed and where it's held and things like that.
Cool. We'll check that out, and I'll put links to that in the show notes. How could somebody keep up with you and what you're doing? Where's a good place to do that?
What do you mean?
Like online, like is Instagram better, Facebook, or where are we?
Definitely Instagram. I don't post too many things on Facebook, so yeah, definitely Instagram. Okay, and we'll put links to that as well on the show notes. Do you have any final words or thoughts for the audience? Me, Ethan, and Oliver Taza are all competing in Gracie Worlds. If you guys want to tune in. Taza's doing the 185 division, and Ethan's doing the 145 division, and I'm doing the under 135 division. Awesome, and we're looking forward to watching that unfold, and good luck to all of you guys in that. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and looking forward to watching you. You've already started off with a great career, and looking forward to watching it develop and watching you compete. Thanks. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, and have a good evening. You too, man. I'll see you.
I'd like to thank Nicky Ryan for taking time out of his busy schedule to come to the BJJ Brick podcast. He's such a talented, and great young man, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. And don't forget, October 8th, definitely check him out at the Canadian Kumite. He's in a super fight, and Nicky Ryan, let's all, check it out and give him some support. Yep. We'll put a link to his Facebook page and his Instagram. Hey, Gary, we're old. We still do Facebook. Younger people are doing Instagram more. And yeah. But follow him, like his stuff, help him out. He's we all need encouragement from time to time. He's 15. He's competing with adults. Give him a pat on the back. He's probably a good chance he's a big part of the future of grappling here, and show him some support. So this is a great opportunity to help somebody or watch somebody develop. So awesome to have him on the show here, and looking forward to that. Yeah, and you, like Byron said, you're going to see his name for a long, long time. I mean, 15 years old and already, winning adult tournaments, and he's going to be just like his older brother. He's going to be the guy that everybody's going to be watching here for a long time. Yep. So we'll put a link to the Canadian Kumite on our show notes. It's October 8th. 2016. It's $11.99. They've got a 16-man tournament, a bunch of great names on there, and it's going to be amazing. And I think the winner of that gets $3,500. So it should be pretty competitive, Gary. Yep, that's awesome. And the tournament's being put on by Cat Clark. We've had him on the show before, so another guy we also want to support. Absolutely. Gary, guess what? What, Byron? You surprising me again? Yeah, I'm surprising you with some good news. Uh-oh, what's the good news? We've got a Matt Tails, my friend. Oh, yes. So that is some good news. He's excited because, A, there's a great Matt Tails to share with everybody, and B, he doesn't have to make up an audiobook in front of everybody on the spot. So let's go ahead and play the Matt Tails. This is Matt Tails. We bring you amazing jiu-jitsu stories. The story might be funny, unfortunate. It could be about an epic fail or an epic win.
So sit back, my friend, relax, dry off your sweat from rolling, and enjoy Mat Tales. I do not have the best luck on the mats. I'm not talking about being able to pull off a sweet armbar or back take. I'm talking about some days I just have bad luck, like catching a heel to the face from someone that I'm not even rolling with. It really seems like any given week I get more than my fair share of accidental knees, elbows, and headbutts. For this reason, I always wear a mouthguard and a cup. But recently, I decided to upgrade my mouthguard from a simple $5 version to a $80 custom top-of-the-line mouthguard. This mouthguard is nice. It looks like it's been tie-dyed and it's red, white, and blue. I've never seen another one like it. The best part of this mouthguard is, it seems to be lucky. After a month of wearing it, I never got hit in the mouth, which is virtually unheard of for me. A few weeks ago, I arrived to class early, and I met a new student on his first day. We quickly hit it off as friends. We got to work the techniques together, and after that, we took a break to get water. I told him as we got off the mat, "Get some water in your mouthpiece, it's time to roll." I chatted with a few of my teammates and headed off to the shelf to get my mouthpiece where I left it. I could not find it. I looked in my gym bag. Not there. I went back out to my car to check the seat. No mouthpiece there either. I must have left it at home. Well, Coach is starting the timer, and it's time to get back on the mat. I went to my new friend to start rolling. That's when I noticed where my mouthpiece was. It was in the new guy's mouth. I was shocked. He must have thought the gym provided mouthpieces, and he grabbed mine. While in my head, I was trying to grasp the situation while it was still rolling. I was not mad at him. I was just amazed with how dumb this guy was and how gross it was to have somebody else's mouthpiece in your mouth. What's wrong with this guy? Who is this guy? As we continued to roll, I was completely distracted by the thought of my mouthpiece, my lucky mouthpiece, in his mouth. That's when I caught an elbow to the mouth. Two things happened that day. I did not get my mouthpiece back. I didn't want it. And without my wonderful mouthpiece, I was back to my normal bad luck of getting accidentally hit again. This has been Mat Tales. Some of the names and places may have changed. We may have, in fact, taken some creative liberties with the story. In order to keep Mat Tales going, we need more tales. Tales from listeners like you. Send your Mat Tales to bjjbrick@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing your amazing stories. All right, what do you think, Gary?
You know, I was chuckling. I just think that's crazy. First of all, using somebody else's mouthpiece.
That's gross.
Seeing a mouthpiece sitting there, and you know, hey, it's free mouthpieces to use, and boy, that's. But you know, somebody who's never rolled before, that could be his first time. Doesn't really know, and doesn't really know that mouthpieces are fitted to each person. So. You know, we kind of take it for granted, but I could see that. But the whole time I was just chuckling through the whole thing.
Oh, man, I feel for the guy. He's got bad luck anyway. You know,
And
he feels like he does.
$80
My mouthpiece, I think it's about $3. Gary, I don't think you wear one, do you?
No, I don't. Nope.
You just don't get hit in the face.
I've been lucky so far. I used to wear a mouthpiece. I don't anymore.
Something I started doing recently, which is good to do, but it's kind of sad that I haven't done it until just recently, is taking better care of my mouthpiece when I get home. I'm sure I've gone months without washing my mouthpiece. That's pretty gross. So what I do, and I think that's common, people just forget about it. You wash your gi, but you just do your mouthpiece in your bag. I take my mouthpiece out and I throw it by the sink, and I'll do it when I wash it like it's one of the dishes. And by the time I'm,
do you wash it with dishwashing detergent?
Yeah, I do. Like a soap and sponge and everything. It's like it's like a dish, and let it dry and.
I used to in mine. I would take it and I'd put some Listerine. In a cup, and I'd throw it in there overnight. And because I had heard stories of people, it never happened to me, but I'd heard people who never washed it. Next thing you know, they have an infection in their gum or whatever, just from a nasty mouthpiece.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yep. So if you ever rolling with somebody you don't really like, just don't ever wash your mouthpiece and then leave it on the shelf there, and hopefully the guy will use it when he needs one.
Another thing I do is I've written my name on the mouthpiece container that I have, and several times I'll just leave it at the gym on accident, and it doesn't get thrown away because it's mine. It says my name on it.
But do you have to do burpees? If you
that's for when I forgot my belt. I had to do some burpees.
Okay.
So mouthpiece is not such a penalty.
What if there's 2 Byrons?
Yeah,
Or
maybe
3.
my last name would work just fine, or full name, or name and belt rank. You know, you got to put
I'd
your
go
rank.
with name and rank and birthday, or Social Security number, date of birth, and full name, and driver's license number.
Phone number and address and email are all good too.
Yeah.
Speaking of email, Gary.
Speaking of email, good one.
If you want to get a hold of us, bjjbrick@gmail.com is a great way to get a hold of us, and a good reason to get a hold of us would be to send us on Mat Tails. Right now, Gary, we don't have any more Mat Tails. We've had 5.
We need some more Mat Tails. Please send in your Mat Tails.
If you've got a kind of an odd story like he had there, piece it together, type it up, or just send us an outline, and we'll make the details or make it a bit more of a story versus just this happened to me. Yeah. And we'd love to share it with everybody. People enjoy these things, but we need people to send them in. So keep sending them. Thank you for sending this one about the mouthpiece. And some of them are more embarrassing than others. Some of them are just kind of weird. This one was kind of. It kind of had a sad mood to it, Gary, but it was funny.
A sad mood. Yeah, well, it was funny. We've had one of a guy who accidentally, how would we say it, went to the bathroom on his partner and him all over the mat. And we had one guy who actually got locked in the bathroom and missed a seminar. Yeah. So, you have any crazy stories, definitely let us know.
Yeah, we've got a lot, and we need more. So it's not going to happen without people like you taking. It's not like easy. I know it's not easy to do. You have to sit down and type it up and figure out what you want to say. But it's well worth it if you want to do it and share your story with everybody. We are always honored to get a new Mat Tails in, and looking forward to the next one sometime. So hopefully this story motivated you to type up another one. Speaking of typing up something, Gary, we got a couple of reviews.
We always like reviews. Reviews are great.
Tattoo sent us a review. He says he gives 5 stars. Being a BJJ nerd and podcast fan, I highly recommend BJJ Brick quality content. Awesome guests like today. I threw that like today in there. And consistent episodes to help keep jiu-jitsu top of the mind, especially for a casual practitioner like me who can't train as much as I would like.
And then we also have one from Gino from August 16th, 2016. My favorite BJJ podcast. Love their passion for the arts, also their positive outlook. Keep rolling, lads.
All right. It's nice to see.
Thank you, Gino.
Yeah, always good to get encouraging feedback, and great to see that on the iTunes reviews there. So thanks, guys, for that. Very motivating. Looking forward to next reviews, too.
Yeah, also check us out on social media. We talked earlier about Instagram, Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Reddit. So definitely check us out there. And, if you like us, like our podcast or like any of our social media aspects, definitely tell a friend about it. We love it's the best form of flattery we can get, best form of marketing. So if you're listening to it, you definitely got some friends who like this sport. So let some friends know about it, and especially let them know about this episode. Nicky Ryan, who does not want to learn from Nicky Ryan? So check this episode. Tell your friends about this episode.
There we go. And if you enjoy the show and want to see it continue on its path and actually accelerate it a little bit quicker and do things a little bit better, support us on Patreon. Consider supporting us for $1 a show, or maybe a little bit more, and that money will go to us and help us continue to grow and do things. We're trying to make this as good as we can here, Gary. The Matt Tales is a new segment that appeared shortly after Patreon, and just that's one little example of spending more time and trying to make something the best that we possibly can. So if you want to support us on Patreon, we'd be honored to have another Patreon supporter just like you, my friends. There's a video in the show notes that explains how it works. Just for $1 or $2 an episode, you could help us out a great deal. So consider that if you want to keep us motivated and going with a Patreon account there. So check it out, please, if you're interested in that. But next week, Gary, for sure we're going to keep going another week because we are going to be talking about scrambling. Not talking about eggs here, Gary. Yeah.
Eggs?
Not so much eggs.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of scrambling eggs, I made 3 months ago, this is really irrelevant, but my cholesterol was kind of high. Went to get some blood work done, high cholesterol. I cut out basically most of the eggs in my diet because I was eating quite a bit. I was eating about a dozen eggs a week. And I dropped my cholesterol 20 points in 3 months.
Good job, Byron.
My doctor prescribed to me some vitamin, I forgot what it was, and maybe vitamin A, I don't know, remember. But I said, I was rather just change my diet. If that works, I'll go with that. I don't want to take a vitamin forever. And it's worked. So far, so good.
Awesome. Good job, buddy.
It wasn't really changing my diet. It was just changing, like, how I was eating. Not really how, but it was always easy just to cook up a couple eggs. There's other easy things to do that are more healthy for me. Eggs might be perfect for you if you don't have high cholesterol. They're a great source of protein, but I just switched that out of my diet, and I don't miss it. And I still eat eggs, but not as many. So there we go. Sometimes you see a problem, make a change.
A dozen eggs a week to 11. Good job.
Actually, in the 3 months that I had kind of cut back on eggs, we didn't finish the 2 dozen we had in our fridge. So
good job.
There we go. I don't know.
That's impressive, Byron. And when we're talking about scrambling, we're not talking about eggs.
That's true. What are we talking about, Gary?
We're talking about the craziness that can happen in a match when no one's in control and everybody, both participants are trying to gain control. It's a wild scramble of action.
Yeah, they're very exciting, but we're going to hopefully help you out, explain how to get better at scrambling, how to avoid a scramble, how to create a scramble, maybe some common mistakes and some tips to win a scramble. So we're going to kind of be end of the month here, Gary. Last Monday of the month, we're going to do another topic episode. It's going to be scrambling. We're excited to talk about it. We hope we can help you out. We've both had a decent amount of experience. Sometimes we win them, sometimes we lose them. But if we can think about them and kind of help you out, we'd love to do that. So looking forward to next week's show, Gary.
Yes, so am I. So definitely make sure you tune in next week.
All right, and stay sweaty, my friends.
And don't forget to shower.
And wash your mouth, please.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.